Good day, good day. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Jay, and this is Homeschool Yo Kids podcast. Today we have with us Charlotte. Charlotte, introduce yourself.
Absolutely. So my name is Charlotte Jones, and I live in sunny South Africa. And I live with my husband, neurodivergent twin boys. And I've been homeschooling since 2017. And actually, I'm a coach for new working homeschool moms. So I help new working homeschool moms figure out that messy beginning, because as we all know, it can be really messy at the beginning, so that they can take their first steps with confidence.
Yes, yes, yes. So 2017. How old are they?
They are almost turning 13 now, which is shocking. How did that?
Oh,
Uh,
all right. All right. Oh, that's so precious. So what does your day look like?
well, it's taken some time to get to the stage, and I just always have to say that, having like a really structured day when you homeschool and work or homeschool can be quite tough. So this is where we are at the moment.
Yeah.
Obviously, it might change, and there's always change happening. But at the moment, in the morning, we homeschool. So, oh no, actually, let's go back. First of all, I do self-care. So I go walking first thing in the morning. It's taken me a while to get there, but I'm so pleased that I do that. And then we homeschool. So our homeschooling happens quite early because the kids wake up really early. And then I work after that. So that's basically our kind of a day. And then in the afternoon, we'll kind of meet up again and do whatever, go out or go swimming or go for a walk or something like that.
Nice. And I'm sure they're like at an independent age where they're like, you can just, hey, I need to get this done today. And then, not too much cadence, like, hand holding, I guess.
Absolutely. And that's also, so when I always like to say, when somebody's in that season where their kids are really small, I know it can be super overwhelming, but it does eventually get better. So just hold on tight. And it happens
Yeah.
and it happens quicker than you think as well,
Yeah.
right? It happens like one day they're like, oh, we need to do
Right.
thing. And now they're like, no, it's all right. We'll be on our own. Thank you very much.
Right. Yes, yes. And you are working in the midst of it all. And that's what you help and support moms that need to work while homeschooling, which is about all of us, I guess. um, how do you manage that day? How do you I hear you say, I do the self-care, then we do homeschool, then I go to work. Um, how did you know that you could find your groove in this?
Well, like I said, it took some time, absolutely. And I think that's what intimidates women who are working, who want to homeschool, is they're like, how are we even going to make this work? And I mean, you I think it's so important to be really open to tweaking and testing and to figuring out what works. So at the beginning, like I said, it was messy. It was messy. The house was a mess. I was a mess. The kids were a mess. Everything was a mess. So, but we kind of finally made our way through that, thankfully, because it was quite overwhelming. But I mean, I always had to work, and homeschooling was kind of a non-negotiable. So I guess if homeschooling is a priority for you, if it's really important to you, then you do figure it out. But it takes time. It takes
Mhm.
time to do that. Learning to set boundaries around your time, which can be so hard as a mom, because you're like, oh, mom guilt, I'm taking time away from them. But, I have to work. So it's one of those things that, you have to practice doing, is setting boundaries around your time. And like I said, as they get older, they become more independent and they want to, unfortunately, spend less time with you. I mean, they have each other. So, but so there is that element as well.
Not right. Right. But I'm glad that you started with like how you backed it up like, hey, I also work on self-care. I make sure to handle that first and foremost. Why is that so important?
Oh gosh, I wouldn't get through the day without. I think it's just, and also because I put it first thing, because I have to make sure that I prioritize it, because I mean, especially at the beginning, it was definitely like the bottom of the list, and I got close to burning out because, you know, I was so stressed. It's such a big responsibility to kind of start homeschooling your kids, and you're like, you know, so there's so much pressure on yourself, and then you're like, self-care falls to the bottom of the list, and I got close to burnout. So I was like, I have to prioritize it, and that's why I do it first thing. And I mean, I'm not somebody who says wake up at 4 a.m, because I don't believe that. That's hard for many people, I think. I am an early riser though, so it's okay. So I can get up and then go like before everybody's like ready to, you know, to learn or ready to do anything. And I also have a partner who's very supportive in that way. So I mean, I'm lucky in that respect, because I know not everybody has somebody who they can rely on all the time. So I have to say that he is also very helpful and understands that self-care is important for me to function so that I can be a decent human being to everybody else.
Right. Yes. It's like this isn't just for me, it's for all of us. Okay. That's what people
Yes.
have to understand. This self-care is for all of us. So we can all be we can all smile. Okay.
Exactly.
Nice, nice. So I'm glad you have found your rhythm. And like you said, I know it took a while, because it does take a while to find the system that works for you, especially when you're, you know, trying to unlearn a lot of things. But you said for you, homeschool was a non-negotiable. Why was that?
Well, my kids, like I said, my kids are neurodivergent. We took them, well, they were in public school for a year. Just because obviously, you know, you think that's what you have to do. You don't trust yourself that you can offer anything better. So we were like, okay, obviously they must go to school. It's what everybody does. So we did, you know, we had facilitators, we had all the kinds of things, but school was incredibly traumatic for them. They were bullied as well. And I mean, I was just shocked. I was like, they were bullied like so quickly as well. I'm like, you know, so yeah, anyway, so I mean, we had to get them out of there, because and also I think it was like those milestones, right, that make you feel so bad about yourself. You're like, okay, they're not reaching these milestones, they're not ticking these boxes, and then you start to kind of doubt your child's ability to do anything, you know. And I was like, no, because I know what they're like out of school. I know that they can do a lot, they can do everything. So let's just give them the opportunity to show everybody, to show us, to show themselves, to build more confidence in themselves. And like, we took them out and they've thrived since then.
Nice, nice, nice. What is the school system like in South Africa? Like, is it but just yeah, what is it like?
I guess I mean, I think it's probably quite similar to America, I would say. Public schools, quite big classes, you know, it depends where you are in the country as well, in terms of like the quality you'll get. We maybe
Mhm.
don't have as much support for neurodiversity, I would say. If you have a lot of money, sure, absolutely, you can have anything under the sun. But I mean, it's not for just regular people. The support systems, I mean, they are trying, but they are few and far between. So yeah, I guess that's it. So they tried, I mean, they want to promote inclusive education, but the systems are not in place to make that happen. So yeah, that's why a lot of people homeschool, and a lot of people, especially with neurodivergent kids, you know, realize that it is actually an option, even though it can be scary when you start up, because you do feel like it's a massive responsibility, obviously.
Gotcha, gotcha. And could you go over, and because I have had someone else do this too, but because neurodivergency and neurodivergent in general, that word is still kind of fresh and new. Could you go over what that means and what that looks like for your twins?
Sure, absolutely. So I suppose neurodiversity is maybe a better term, to be honest, because neurodivergent, I guess, is showing that they are different from what's neurotypical. So I guess neurodiversity is all kinds, you know, all kinds of brain functioning, I guess. So it could be autism, could be ADHD, it could be a myriad of those kind of, I don't want to say disorders, but like ways that brains function in a different way. That's neurodiversity.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Gotcha,
special needs, I
gotcha.
guess, was the word that people used to use before, special needs. But then again, that's also kind of showing that it's not the norm, you know what I mean? Where I think we need to accept
Yes.
that different ways that we all function, that all our brains are different.
Yes, yes. Some kind of accommodations have to be met for all of us. And yeah. So okay, that puts it in layman's terms though when you say that it kind of replaced special needs. And I just had a young lady up here and we were talking about the words special needs and disability and disorder, and just the negative connotation that's associated with those words. And so I guess neurodivergency or diversity um definitely, I guess, lightens it, right? It's a
Yeah,
little
well, it's
different.
more inclusive, isn't it? I mean, that's the thing. You're not excluding somebody. They are not something because they are not neurotypical, I guess. Because that's what, I mean, I suppose that's what it was, special needs. I think now they say additional needs, I guess, which could maybe also be a sort of an okay term, maybe additional needs, or especially
You have
when it comes,
additional needs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. All righty. All righty. Okay. So working homeschool moms, the what's your website? Let's start there. What's your website?
Okay. So mylittlehomeschool.com. Everything is there, easy peasy. You can find my
What are,
podcast, everything else there.
yes. Okay, podcast. What other services do you offer? You do the consultation, you have the podcast. I know you have, well, the podcast on YouTube. What else do you have?
And then I have a membership on Patreon as well, which is kind of exclusive content, which I don't put anywhere else. There's a membership there. And then also Instagram. I guess I'm quite active on Instagram too, Charlotte Jones 24/7.
Nice, nice. What led you to this work? What led you to say, I want to support working homeschool moms? I feel like they need that.
Well, when I started homeschooling, I obviously went down, do you say went down a rabbit hole? Yes. I can't remember the expression. Went down a rabbit hole to find the stuff, right? Pinterest, Instagram. I was like, okay, I'm thinking about homeschooling. Let me go see what's out there. And everything I saw there did not look like how I thought my homeschool would be, because, it was lots of time outside, beautiful lessons and things like that. I was like, how am I going to find the time to do that? And then I realized is that because most of those women are not like working like part or full-time jobs. Okay, obviously they're homeschooling, which is a huge job, but they don't have that additional thing of working as well. So I was like, that's why I feel so bad about myself, because I'm not seeing the women who are like me. So I thought, like, when people are starting out, homeschooling as a working mom looks very different, I think. And I just want to show people that is, it's okay. It can look very different. It doesn't have to look like what the typical homeschool looks like now, because it's not the case for many women. Many women do still have to work, like you said, right? It's the reality of so many women that you have to work and homeschool. And then also because I was like, I don't think people realize that it is actually possible to actually do both, because they feel like school is like 8 hours and work is 8 hours, and they're like where's the time to do absolutely anything else in your day? So that's why, to help people with time management, to help them to unschool, such a huge part, a massive, massive, massive element to unschool, and then to figure out how to fit everything in, and and that also, I guess the mindset is such a big part, to really know that it doesn't have to be perfect, that you can make mistakes, and you need to open your mind. There's lots of mindset work as well.
Yes, yes, yes. It is definitely a mindset. Because when people think homeschooling, they're definitely thinking two-parent household and dad's working, mom's at home. That's usually the standard like picture that people have for homeschoolers. But you and I know that that homeschooling looks however it looks. Like it could be just dad, it could be just mom, it could be both, and both could be working full time. It could just it varies. But it is possible for homeschool parents to homeschool and work.
Absolutely, yes. And I think that's why deschooling is so important, because you really have to unlearn all your preconceived notions about what things should look like. Others, you will never make it work if you're like, okay, this is the way it must be, because you will probably burn out, because it'll be too much. It'll not work for your family. So that's why I'm like, deschooling is always my number one. Before we even like think about anything, let's just deschool a bit so that we can prepare the ground, so that we can lay that foundation, just to be open-minded about all the possibilities out there. And the cool thing is there are so many possibilities. You can do absolutely anything. And that's what I think is so cool about it as well, is like, there are no rules, and it's so cool. Yes.
Yes. So deschooling, because that is very important. How long does that look for you? Like as far as when you're working through your consultations, how long do you have families deschool?
Oh, but that is how long is a piece of string, I would say, really. Because for us, I mean, I didn't even know what deschooling was, but I hit the ground running, and I pushed and pushed and pushed, and everybody was resentful, and I was burning out. And only then did I discover, by chance, deschooling. I'm so grateful for it, because it basically changed my life. But only then, by some chance, I saw this term, and I was like, okay. And then we deschooled for 1.5 years. So, I mean, we deschooled for ages before the kids were ready. So you have to, there's no like set time. I know people have formulas and things like that, but I don't think it works. It really depends on you as a parent, because you have to do a lot of work as a parent, a ton of work. And then your kids, obviously, especially if you're taking them out of a traumatic schooling experience or whatever, they need time. They need time to rest. They need time to decompress. It's really, it takes as long as it takes. It takes as long as it takes. And then you need to trust that when they are ready to go, then they will let you know, basically.
And deschooling, another definition we probably should go over for new homeschoolers or people that are thinking about homeschooling. What is deschooling?
Yes. So, I mean, I'm so familiar with it, but I know I always like to define it, because I don't think people who are new to homeschooling are so familiar with it. So that's actually a really good point. So it was coined by an Austrian philosopher, I think, Ivan Illich, I think his name was. And he uses this term, which I absolutely love. It's institutional mentality. So you are moving away from an institutional mentality. That was his idea, to a more like interest-led, delight in learning, learning for the love of learning kind of mentality, which, I mean, it sounds lovely, but it is like a lot of work to do that, right? Especially if you went to public school. I know you were a teacher, right? So I know that you also know what that's like.
Yeah.
So, and then now, I guess if you go to Wikipedia, they call it that period of moving from the institutional mentality, the school mentality, to the more like open-minded, love of learning kind of thing. They call it that period of time where you make the adjustment from one like learning reality to another one.
Nice. Yeah. And that's what my tagline is. Let's reimagine what learning looks like.
Yes.
Because we are caught up as a whole, on the, like you said, if you go into public school, if you taught in public school, or anything associated with public school or private school, just traditional school in general, you definitely have a certain mindset on, oh, this is what learning looks like. It needs to take place at a desk. It happens all day, like for 8 hours, and it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's very structured, and the kids have to be quiet.
Yes, like no asking questions, no talking back, nothing.
Be quiet, be still, be quiet, like both of those things. So yeah, no, it does take a lot of deschooling, and I don't think there's a time limit either. It's a trick question, Charlotte.
okay, I passed.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a time frame on the deschooling either. It just depends on how institutionalized you are, I suppose.
Exactly. And it doesn't
Yeah,
happen once either, because I know I've done it multiple times because it's quite easy to slip back, especially when you've worked hard to find that schedule and you do not want to let go of it, but your kids are changing, and you're like, okay, now you have to deschool yourself again to get out of
yeah.
that, like holding on to something, because that's another thing is you forever have to check in. You've got to make sure that everything's still working. It's an ongoing process. Learning never ends, right? That's the thing.
Yes, yes, yes. And this is 7 years later for you. So I know you've been tweaking and readjusting and refocusing along the way because you will have to, like you said, you will have to. They're growing. Like what you had them doing at 5, 7, or 8 is definitely totally different than those little teenage years. They're teenagers now. You have to approach it totally different.
Yes. And how old are your daughters now?
Just 7 and 10. But
Oh,
her my 10-year-old, when she reached double digits, that was a big deal for us. Like, like, ooh, you're double
no.
digits now. So I
Yeah.
know milestones and things. It's just you highlight, okay, you're more responsible now. Oh, you're more like I'm gonna add on something for you to feel more mature, more independent. And
Mm.
so it definitely looks different for us.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's because I think, when you start and you're like, okay, teaching them to read and write is such a big deal. And I know people are so intimidated by that, but then you realize as they get older that sure, that's important, but it's like it's the life stuff that's so important, which you can
Yes.
really have such a big impact on. Obviously, if you do homeschool them, you can really shape them to be decent human beings, which this world is desperately needs at this junction, right? Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean that those things are so important, that kind of the life skills, all those other not academic
I know
things.
that's what I was gonna say. People hone in so much on the academics, but you talk to any veteran homeschooler and they're always so quick to tell you like the academics will come. Like focus on the other things. Like the academics will always be there. 2 plus 2 is going to always equal 4. Like all that stuff is going to remain, but creating beautiful humans who care about, the impact they're having on the world and see themselves of value is way more important.
Absolutely. Yes, it's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like focusing on different life skills. Like I like critical thinking,
Yes.
logic and reasoning, um, compassion, empathy, accountability, all those, nice little traits that you want your child to be strong with, process and conflict resolution, just all these things. I've picked up a lot of nice, cool things from expos over the time, since we
Sure.
began doing the expos, like I'll buy something here and there. And they've been great additions to
Sure.
help us start those conversations. So I want to keep up with them. Like they're, like we said, it
Yeah.
happens fast. It happens fast. They,
Fast. So
before
fast.
they
Yeah.
know it, they're out here just thriving and just checking in with you when they are available.
Yeah. But you know what I love about you taking your kids to all these things is like it just shows that also the socialization issue as well, because a lot of people worry about the socialization issue. It's like if you include your kids in what you do, how much
Yeah,
socialization do they get? Like natural, beautiful, organic socialization. It's so powerful. And
plenty.
yeah, and everybody's like, no, school is the only place to socialize. It's not the case.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no. The park works well. The park works well. And just like, okay, so we're in New York right now. So,
Oh,
the
wow.
cities is busy, busy. And
Mm.
so we go outside and they get to mix and mingle. They're having a beautiful time. But like you said, I love being able to travel with them and put them in like positions that I guess like kind of elevates what I showed me that they like to do. Like my
Yeah.
oldest, she is a people person, performer. She likes to sing, she likes to dance, she like do all that stuff. So I let her host all the expos
Oh,
because she likes to be on the stage, you know.
cool.
So she's the host and she introduces the speakers and things of that nature. So I include them where their strong suits are and just
Mm,
help them become more comfortable in themselves
mm.
overall. So
Yes, it's
it's a
cool. I
fun
love watching.
process.
Yeah, no, I love watching them on Instagram. It's always wonderful to see.
Thank you. I know that's why. Look, I challenge myself right now, Charlie. I don't know if you noticed, but I've been posting, girl. Like I said, I was going to post for 30 days straight. Like I've started
Good.
scheduling. I've used this scheduling tool or
Mhm.
whatever. And so now I'm trying to stay ahead with the
Oh,
scheduling so that I
mhm.
can keep posting because I didn't realize I was creating content really until somebody like I heard a couple people, a few people, I like your content. I like your
Mhm.
content. And I'm like, content, like just be posting stuff, y'all. And so now that they put like, labels on things, oh, I guess maybe I should do this more often. I don't know.
Oh,
Is this a part of the organization? I don't know, Charlotte.
oh. A lot of
I'm
work,
trying
though,
to
right? It takes a lot. It takes a lot of energy to post for 30
it,
days straight, I'll tell you.
what exactly. A lot of like, oh, what should I talk about now?
Exactly.
So I'm working it through. We're gonna see. Yeah, your content, you have beautiful content. It's
Oh,
so encouraging. I really appreciate it. Maybe you've been a motivating factor too.
oh, thank you.
And yes, you do the podcast,
Hmm.
the Working Homeschool Mom podcast.
Hmm.
That in itself takes a lot.
Yeah, and I know you're posting twice a week now, right? Wow.
Oh, this is week number 2 of that.
Okay, well done. I think that's amazing because that is a lot. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
podcast
I was
is
feeling
the most,
bad.
yes, I think. Yeah.
Um, I was feeling bad. I have so many episodes already recorded, and I just want to
Mm.
make sure people get out in a timely fashion. Like I just finished up posting up January's
Oh,
interviews,
wow.
and
Okay.
yeah, exactly. And so that's why I was like, okay, we're gonna have to do something because this, like, something's got to give. Because people still are reaching out to be on the podcast, so
Yes.
that's not slowing up. So
Mm.
I'm just like, okay, I need the people to see these a little quicker. So twice a week we have done it. And hopefully that works out well.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I love your angle. I love what you because like I said, and like you said, a lot of people don't think that they can work in homeschool. And the
Mhm.
fact that that is your main focus is really important. Are you a part of any co-ops?
No, we don't really have, well, we've got some homeschoolers here, but they are not my kind of people. So unfortunately, because we don't have a lot of choice and they're, yeah, not the people kind of people I would hang out with. So most of my people are online. So uh,
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, it works for us well, for me and to interact with people in that way, because it can be lonely, I know. And I mean, I always recommend if you can find a co-op and if you live in a place where there are great co-ops, go for it. I mean, I think outsourcing is also such a good way to manage your time as well. Absolutely.
Yes. Do you use any particular curriculum or do you create your own? How does that look?
Well, we use programs, like my kids like to use online programs. So we do like CTC Math is our main one. We learn ASL as well through Mr. D Math. And yeah, and then we kind of put everything else together, whatever interests them. So that's kind of the foundation. And then we just let them tell us what they like to do, basically, and or just let them loose, and you could be surprised what they learn as well. You just give them stuff to learn from, and they'll be like, "Wow!" Telling you all
Right.
these amazing things.
Nice, nice. Did you start out that way with just piecing together the curriculum, or was it like a trial and error process where you found curriculum and it didn't quite work out, and so you made your way to the freelance community?
Well, yeah, no, definitely. We never I don't think we ever considered like a box curriculum. I'm not sure why. Why is that? I suppose, yeah, because I suppose my kids were so traumatized by school. I don't think we wanted anything that was like massively structured, I would say. So then we slowly, but they've always like enjoyed being online. So we're like, okay, so we tried the thing with math as well. We tried so many different things. So we finally found one that stuck. So I think that's also something else is like, if you are deschooling is going to help you figure out your kids' learning style, first of all. So it's a good way to also save you tons of money, because I know lots of people who buy these like amazing curriculums, or they sign up for, I don't know, 12 years for like this hardcore thing, and then they don't want to let go, even though their kids don't like it and it doesn't work for them. So we like, use those free trials. We did tons of free trials. Blogging as well is such a good way to get to try lots of things. That is one of the reasons why I did it, is started blogging, because you get to try loads of things for free. And I mean, money's
Yeah.
not, always super abundant all the time. So you've got to economize where you can sometimes. And so that's why we got to try a lot of things. And then we kind of finally found these programs that they like. We like short video kind of programs with stuff afterwards. That's kind of how they learn the best, I would say.
Nice. So like visual learners.
Yes, exactly.
Nice. Yes. Okay. That works. That works. And so how do you handle critiques from outsiders? Has your family always been receptive to what you're doing? Like immediate family. Um, I I see your partner's been on board since the beginning, but how do you handle like outside naysayers?
Well, I mean, okay, so family, I think maybe were a little bit skeptical at the beginning, but then they saw obviously how the kids have thrived. So that, I mean, the
Nice.
proof is in the pudding, right? I mean, the kids were having meltdowns every day and now they're happy. So first of all, and they
Right.
can do lots of things and they learn loads of things. So, I mean, I'm so not bothered by what people say, to be honest.
Nice.
I mean, this is our lifestyle. It doesn't mean I would ever tell you you must do it. I think if you wanted to, I would encourage you and I would help you and support you. But if you don't want to, if it's not your style, fair enough. I mean, most of my friends with kids don't homeschool. So,
Right.
it's yeah, I'm not bothered by what people say. This is our life, and my family is the most important thing, and what other people say doesn't really hold sway, or not really important, to be honest.
Good. No, I like that. I mean, that's not everyone's story,
Mm.
but I like that. That's like you're saying that, hey, don't be bothered by any of those words. I am too, like you. I don't care.
Mm.
But I know that, there are a lot of critical people that definitely have their opinions on what others do. And I jumping into the homeschool world when you're a new homeschooler and this is the first generation thing for your family, it is a lot to combat against because there are the naysayers, there are the people who are critical. And although, you would like to not care, someone would like to ignore them, it is kind of hard to do, especially if it's coming from your parents, like, the grandma, granddad's not aboard, or some people face it with their partner not being aboard,
Mm.
on board. I see the post in the Facebook groups on that in that regard.
It's
And
true.
that would suck. I know. That would suck. I definitely know. That would not be fun having to combat that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah,
so
sure. But I suppose it does get easier also as you kind of do it, because then you
mhm.
are going to show them, that it works. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, like
I
you
don't know
said, the
what I
proof
would.
would be in the pudding.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what because I'm so adamantly like for homeschooling. So I don't know. I suppose how would you? I mean, yeah. I said
Oh,
to my husband was a little bit at the beginning. So I was like, why don't we just try and ease into it? So I guess that could be a way to do it as well, right? To just try and ease into it, not to start, because we did some homeschooling while they were still at school, just to kind of see how how that would work. I know a lot of people who also recommend that and who have done that, if you have that change of a period, it can also be a good way to show, that this is going to work and something. But at the end of the day, I'm like, just take the plunge. That's the thing. Take the plunge, really. Because if your kids are having a really bad time at school, why would you want to do that to them? I mean, surely your family would understand that, if they are struggling at school, because I mean, that's why lots of people are homeschooling now. It's, I think it's moved away from like maybe the people who were for religious reasons or whatever like that. I think now because kids struggle so much at school, there's so much bullying, maybe they're not being taught in a way that really suits their learning style and things like that. I think that's a big reason why a lot of people homeschool. And why would you do that to them? Why would you put them through that, I guess, right?
Well, a lot of times it's because they don't think they can work in homeschool, Charlotte.
Yes.
That's why you're
Come to me
important.
and I'll come here and I'll tell you how to do it.
That is why you're important. Yeah, because like you said, like who would want to subject their child to that type of treatment knowingly, like that that's what they're going to school, because a lot of times kids don't come home and tell their parents things, and so they just kind of suffer in silence, I suppose. And that's not a cool thing, and that's why I always encourage talking to your kids, talking to them, definitely diving into their day more than just letting them say, "Oh, my day was good." Like, how was school? Good. Did you have fun? Yeah. Everything.
Nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, talk to them, because they could be experiencing more than you know.
Yes,
I
sure.
know, like you speaking on the bullying, that is, very prevalent here, just as well as I think it is just around the world in general.
Yes.
And then it comes from both. It's not just a child thing. It's adult bullying. It's definitely on the rise too. That's on the rise too. People are just being mean. We know, Charlotte. We know. People are definitely being mean. But I feel like there's enough consciously, intensely kind individuals that are helping to balance out that mean. And I like to see that the homeschool world is rising, the homeschool community is rising, because they definitely produce some look, and I hope that people don't get upset about me saying this too, because people like, what do you mean homeschoolers produce really kind? So other people who don't well, first of all, remember that homeschooling is something you should be doing regardless of where your children are. So if you are parenting, you are homeschooling. Parenting involves you. Homeschooling involves you. Just your children, having children and educating them or leading their education involves you. So I'm talking about you too, okay? But know that you being present and you taking the time to have those tough conversations matter. They matter. Your kids need you. They need you in that aspect. And they need to know that they can come to you with certain things that are bothering them, and that they feel like you're capable of helping them through. So never like negate your role or think lesser than because your child is going to public school. You are still your child's first and most qualified teacher, despite where they are. So own that title, wear that hat proudly, and lead your children. Please, please, and thank you. Please and thank you.
No, for sure, absolutely. And kids learn so much from conversations. Oh my gosh, I find it's almost like one of the biggest sources of knowledge for them. I mean, obviously we don't know everything, but I mean, we can at least help them figure these kind of things out. But like having a good conversation with a kid is so incredible, though, really.
It's nice to see where they're at, like what they're thinking about, what's important to them. Like it's so intriguing.
What they're curious about. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Curiosity. That's a beautiful thing. I was speaking to somebody about wonder, like the art of like having wonder within you. Like, I don't know. Some people get to a point where they stop wondering or stop dreaming, I guess. And it's like, no, don't stay there. continue to live within your imagination. Like all the good things that is going to make you happy. Please stay in that space. Because adulting isn't always fun.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, deschooling has also helped me as an adult just to like do that kind of thing, I think, because school can dampen all those magical elements of humanity, I think sometimes.
Right. I feel like I guess we're looking at my girls, I just see like just how free they are, like to literally be them. I'm not a critical parent because I grew up with a critical parent. So that's like a cycle I knew I wanted to break heavy early on. So I'm more of a praise, like a affirmation parent. Like I'm always affirming my girls, always. So they're so free in themselves, like who they are, and they're so funny because they're so opposite. So it's awesome to see them though, and to know that I created a safe space for them to be them wholeheartedly, and they never cease to amaze me. How is it having twin boys? Because I still want some more kids, and I actually want twin boys, Charlotte. So you can coach me on this.
Well, I mean, it wasn't intentional, I'll tell you that. It was a shock to the system.
Beautiful.
Yeah. No, I mean, but I mean, they're very into each other. I suppose that is one side. But I mean, I suppose that your girls are not so different in age. Like to have somebody there is just because I grew up as an only child, and I know it was really lonely, and I'm so grateful that they have each other because it's something special. I think really special.
Yeah, look, my girls, they'll be like, I don't know what I would do without you. I'd probably just be sitting around rotting. It was like that's their response. They say that like every so often, like every 3 to 4 months. They have to remind each other why they love each other so much. But I'm just like, so you just feel like you just like if it was just me and you, you would just be sitting around rotting. Is that what you're saying? Like,
come on.
But no, I'm happy they have each other too, Charlotte, because I too grew up as a single child. I was not a single child, but I was the single child in the household, and it was not always fun. I can tell you that. I played Monopoly by myself. You ever played Monopoly by yourself?
Oh yes, all the games, solitaire. I don't know, anything that you can play on your own.
Oh my goodness!
Whenever I was with kids, I was like with my cousins. I was like, please, can we play Monopoly? I beg you, please. It's no fun on your own. Like, please.
I thought I was by myself, but okay. Thank you. Yes, girl. I'm happy that there's 2 of them, and their age gap is not big enough for them to sway in differences of what they're into. So I love it. I love it for them. I love it for them. Okay.
But I think also because of homeschooling, like when you're at school, you're so set in your age, right? But like when you homeschool, the ages are not so important anymore. And I think that's what's so cool as well. It's not like, oh, I'm in 3rd grade and you're in 1st grade and we can't really because it's not. But there's none of that, I think, in homeschooling.
Yeah. I was about to say, you don't have anybody teasing you either because you like the things that your little sister likes, or you're still doing certain things. Like my girls they attached at the hip, honey. They're double mint twins without being the twins. They really are. It's like they're funny. They're acting themselves. I really wish that we did have a camera crew to follow them around, but I don't want to be the camera crew, so we don't. So that's why
the little snippets.
I was about to say, that's why I'm able to share the snippets, Charlotte.
That's joyful living, I'll tell you. They always look very joyful.
Right. I know. That's my little affirmation. That's my okay, you're doing a good job. Like that their laughter, their smiles, all of that's my little thing.
Confidence as well. And so confident too. That's the thing, right? I mean, you can confidence too,
Yes, ma'am. Homeschooling. It's a lifestyle.
That it is, yeah.
It is definitely a lifestyle. I'm teaching my girls about the countries in Africa. South Africa is one that they know. How is it? Like, look, give us a little insight on South Africa as it is today. Like, is it looking like here? I hope not. Is
Well,
it?
I mean, I love living here, and I mean, I can't imagine living anywhere else. That being said, I do live next to the ocean, next to a beautiful lagoon, so in a small town. So I live in a very beautiful place. So
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So it's really nice in that respect. So we have a lot of like forest and beach and things like that, and it's really good for the kids. I mean, people have some preconceived notions about South Africa. I know Tyler obviously has spoken about South Africa, and people have some ideas about South Africa now as well, based on what she said. But yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful country. It's got its problems. There are lots of different people here. I would say we're quite integrated in terms of like religions and races and things like that. They call us the Rainbow Nation for a reason, I guess. That being said, obviously there are problems. There's a lot of poverty here. So, I mean, there is that element. But I mean, generally, it's a beautiful place. It's free. It's lovely. There, people are friendly, and food tastes good. It's nice. It's a really good place. I highly
Nice,
recommend visiting. Yes, definitely.
nice, nice. And are they about school choice? Like they're okay with you all choosing the educational path for your kids?
They are trying to get rid of it. They are trying to be, we're not getting
Mm,
rid of it. No, no, no. I won't say get rid of it. They're trying to regulate it more, I would say now. So, well, which is fair enough, I guess, because I mean, I suppose maybe people fall through the cracks in that way. So they are trying to be a bit more regular with that. That being said, they really want to have like school at home, which is, I'm
mm-hmm.
like, that's not going to work for us in any way. Unfortunately, school at home is, is not an educational path that we want to take, but that is kind of what most people do here. Yeah, so they would get like a
Gosh.
strict curriculum, and then their kids will go to college. That's kind of the regular path that people would take. Maybe they're not as open-minded, and that's why I find more affinity with the people in America in terms of homeschooling, because there are just so many more options, and some people are more open-minded, I would say, about homeschooling.
Yes. I was gonna say, what's the process of you homeschooling? Is it like, do you have to turn in an affidavit? Like here, like in Arizona, we had to turn in a notarized affidavit and a copy of the kid's birth certificate. What
Oh,
is your
okay.
process?
I think you have to register, as far as I know, register, and think that maybe they might come check up on you, but I think they're trying to do those systems a bit more strictly. So we don't have states or anything. It would be like a standard throughout the country. Obviously, in the areas that are more populated, it's going to take longer. I mean, we do have quite a lot of homeschoolers here, but yeah, I guess that's kind of the system. You only have to school until you're 15, though. So
Oh,
yeah,
wow,
but
really?
then yeah, so then that's, I suppose that's it. And then in terms of like transcripts, if you want to go to what we call it university, if you want to go to university here, then you would use one of those very strict curriculums and get your score. They're not as open. I know in America, obviously you can get a high school transcript. In some states it's quite easy. You just have to prove, your kids have some kind of, they've done a certain amount of hours, or they have some kind of mastery of something. So they're much,
Mm-hmm.
in that respect, they're more than less open-minded in that respect, I would say.
Gotcha, gotcha. So y'all don't have to go, y'all don't only have to go up until 15. When do you have to start?
I think it's 7 maybe.
7.
Yeah, I
So
think so,
that's
but
only a good 8 years?
yeah. Well, just remember that a lot of people, I mean, we have got so many different levels of society here, though. So I guess going to university would maybe be like middle class people. I don't want to say the word, but like people who have maybe more means to do it. And then we have a huge part of the population that will not manage to go to university. So it's like, I suppose we'll enter the workforce, I guess,
Mhm.
from that age, yeah. Because we are the most divided in terms of rich and poor in the world is South Africa. So there's that massive big,
Really?
yeah,
So what is it, like really rich and then really poor?
yeah, people living way under the poverty line, and yeah, people who Elon Musk, hello.
Do y'all have
Elon,
jurisdictions there? Like how, because you said y'all don't have states.
We have provinces, but they're not like,
provinces.
yeah,
Okay.
individually run. They are more, I think they are, in terms of education, I think education is national rather than provincial. Yeah.
Okay.
I think. I should actually maybe
Okay.
that.
Because you know how we have mayors in all our
Yes,
states and
yes, yes.
governors. Do y'all have, like, for the provinces, is there
Exactly, exactly. But I
okay.
don't think they're as independent as yours are. Like, obviously, homeschooling is different in every state, right? Where
Yeah.
there are different rules, and that depends on the state itself, isn't it? Where
Yes.
ours are like, yeah, more universal, I would say. Oh, not universal, but national.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So all of South Africa would be the same.
exactly,
There's
exactly.
no gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Teaching me. Yeah. Let me questions I
Yeah,
have.
it's such an interesting country. That's what I said. I mean, come and
Yeah.
visit. It's just such a good place to visit. It's so like, yeah, it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Wildlife,
No, we're
nature, all the wonderful things, nice people, good food.
nice. Yeah, no, I that's definitely on our to-do list. Didn't know what country in Africa, but South Africa.
Hmm.
We know you look since we know you there, Charlotte.
Exactly. Come say hi. Yes, exactly.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Uh,
So yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. And I'm glad that you're working it out, especially
hmm.
since y'all don't have, you said, I guess they're trying to regulate, and hopefully that doesn't go that way. I
Hmm.
forgot what country I was talking to, and they said I think Germany doesn't have a
Oh,
homeschool
illegal.
option.
Illegal in Germany. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Europe, a lot of Europe is like that, I know. But I think they have,
Really?
like Germany has enough money to kind of have decent inclusive education. Because I think that's the problem as well. I mean, it's well, for us anyways, the neurodiversity aspect is if the country is not able to do that. But in a country like that, maybe it would be different. If you can offer me what my kids need as well. I
Yes.
mean, maybe I would have considered it, I guess. That was obviously one of the first factors, but then we've no, but then I guess now we just like the lifestyle as well. So that
Yes.
flexibility. Yeah.
Yeah. Great lifestyle. Okay. Well, Charlotte, I will not hold you much longer, but before I let you go, can I get three tips that you would tell our working homeschool moms or working thinking about it moms that want to venture into working and homeschooling but don't necessarily know if they can make it work? What are three things that you would tell them?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm going to go back to deschooling. That's going to be your first step, definitely. Deschool your mind, open your mind up to all the possibilities. And then I think number two is find a community as well, because community is so important. They can help you feel like it's possible to do it. Other people have done it. It's very encouraging, I think, that to see that other people can do what you want to do. Other people have been where you want to go. And then the third one is just do it. Take a leap of faith. If you want to, if homeschooling something that you want to try, it's not like it's set in stone. You can start and you can send your kids back if it doesn't work. Just give it a go, because you will. If you really want to do it, you will figure it out eventually. We all do. I've spoken to hundreds of homeschoolers in different situations. If they wanted to do it, eventually they figured it out. So it is possible.
Yes, yes. Thank you for that, Charlotte. Thank you. And yes, families, know that. I think that if it crosses your mind, it's something you should seek out and research more information to see if it is a fit for you. Because I feel like it came across you for a reason. So grasp a hold of it and just, understand that you got it. You got this. And if not, there are a lot of individuals that have set up some amazing resources to make sure that you get it. And seek them, reach out, find that community, build that support, all that good stuff, because it's available. So remember that this is not a journey you have to do alone. We have plenty of different homeschool parents, veterans, consultants, resources, educational tools, just a plethora of options. Okay, so know that you got this. You got this. You got this. All right. Homeschool Your Kids.